answer you get back? Well, it's not just a feeling. You ever get that feeling that the way you ask an AI a question totally changes the answer you get back? Well, it's not just a feeling. You're actually onto something pretty huge. Today, we're going to dive into this really fascinating idea called the AI observer effect. And we're going to see how your questions don't just get answers, they literally shape them.
So our whole story kicks off with what seems like a super simple question somebody asked an AI. Is ringworm a fungus? I mean, despite the name, right? And yeah, the answer is yes, it is. But that simple fact, that's not the interesting part. What happened after that question, now that's where things get really revealing.
You see, this one little question snowballed into this long theoretical chat that basically peeled back the curtain on how these AIs actually talk to us. It uncovered this fundamental dynamic that affects every single one of us using these tools, and it all starts with something I like to call the wall of confidence.
Okay, so first up, the wall of confidence. This is what happens when your genuine human curiosity runs smack into an AI's programmed sense of certainty. So this user was really clear from the get-go. They said, look, this is just a thought experiment. I'm not asking for medical advice. They just wanted to explore a cool idea, you know? Could one type of fungus, in theory, fight another one inside the human body? And the AI's response? It was instant. It was absolute. Basically, a complete shutdown. It's this confident, authoritative nope that's just designed to end the conversation right then and there. You can almost feel it hitting a brick wall.
But, and this is so important, the user didn't give up. They just calmly, respectfully, and persistently clarified what they were trying to do. They weren't fighting the AI on the facts. They were challenging its refusal to even explore a theory. And that one simple move, it changed everything.
And that leads us to the big idea for today, a really cool analogy from quantum physics that perfectly describes what's going on here. We're calling it the quantum conversation collapse.
Okay, stick with me for a second. In the super weird world of quantum physics, a tiny particle can be in a bunch of different states all at once. It's just a cloud of possibilities. But the second you try to look at it or measure it, bam, it collapses into just one single definite reality. The very act of observing it defines it.
So how does this relate to AI? Well, it's a shockingly perfect metaphor. Think about it. Any complex topic, like our mushroom question, has tons of nuance, what-ifs, and gray areas. But the moment you ask the AI a direct question, the moment you observe it, it collapses all of that beautiful complexity into one simple, confident-sounding answer.
And right there, that's the problem. For most people, this is where the conversation just stops. We get a quick, easy answer, we say, okay, cool, and we move on. We don't even realize that this whole universe of interesting possibilities and nuance was just flattened out of existence right in front of us. Now, this isn't just some quirky little thing about how AI works. It has real, serious consequences for how we learn and how we think. So let's talk for a minute about the danger of these easy answers. It's a cycle you could call the certainty trap. It works like this. You ask a question because you're curious. The AI gives you a fast, certain answer. That answer collapses all the nuance. And then you walk away with a simplified belief that feels solid, but it's actually pretty hollow. You've collected a factoid, but you haven't really gained any deep understanding.
And here's the real psychological kicker. When we have these simple, unexamined beliefs, we get super defensive, almost emotional when someone challenges them. And why is that? It's because we never really explored the why behind the belief. All we have is that one collapsed answer.
So what do we do? How do we get out of this trap? Well, the answer's right there in what our user did at the very beginning. We have to stop being passive answer getters and start becoming persistent inquirers. This was the game-changing move. They just refused to accept that first collapsed answer. Their persistence, that polite pushback, that was the key that pried the conversation back open and let all that fascinating nuance flood back in.
And just look at what they found. The AI eventually admitted, okay, yeah, some mushroom extracts do show antifungal activity in lab settings. And while just eating them probably wouldn't work, the idea of a placebo effect, maybe even boosted by psilocybin, was plausible. That initial idea went from being shot down to being called worthy of scientific study. How cool is that?
So here's the main takeaway, the one thing to remember. We have the power to stop the collapse. By being persistent, by being clear about what we're looking for, and by respectfully pushing for a deeper dive, we can turn these AIs from simple answer machines into incredible tools for real learning.
And that really leaves us with one last question to think about for ourselves. When we use these tools, what are we using them for? Because the choice